These people call themselves patriots. They call themselves that they are the real face of America. And they're constantly arguing that the threat is coming from the left. But I think the threat is coming within. And far right is not the case. Extremism is. I think these few individuals have gone a little bit too far. There are certain things they say that may resonate with normal people, but majority of the things that they say, or at least the way they say it, there's a difference between conservatism and chaos. And chaos is something that all these people are slowly building upon. It's a different thing to hold on to traditions, to traditional values, to conservative values, than to use those values and spread, I don't know if I want to use the word hate, but spread chaos. That's what's actually being messaged to the public. There are certain things that are going on in the world. Is it the right thing to do to constantly call it out in a hateful manner? Why can't we call it out in a manner where, hey, you know what, this is the thing that is going wrong with a certain community? Why not give them the way to fix it? Why not change their minds, hearts, and souls instead of inputting hate and inputting, a thought where they should start hating your kind of people? The conservative people, because you have to understand that in politics, it's like a broken telephone. Somebody says something, that message is going to go to somebody else in a completely different way. And then until it gets to the other audience, they're going to understand that these people totally hate us. And that's exactly what these people are doing. They're playing broken telephone. And the message is being spread only in a hateful manner. You may not agree with Charlie Kirk. You may not agree with Ben Shapiro, but they have compelling arguments. They give arguments where, hey, this is the evidence, this is the stats, this is the reason what I'm saying. They're not just trying to insult a group of people or a community. Charlie Kirk says, you know what? It's a culture problem in the black community where 70 or 80% of families don't have a dad. And that's a fact. That's a statistic. Nobody can argue against it. But he's not spreading hatred. But, there are few newer individuals on this space where this void has to be filled in because Charlie Kirks of the world, unfortunately, do not exist anymore. And most of the public is slowly turning onto these types of rhetorics by people like, Paul Miller, Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes is a fairly young individual. He's very bright. He's very knowledgeable. But the rhetoric, Nick, I think should be changed slowly into a better format. If you have a message your way for people to start not hating each other, but loving each other. If you have a message for, the black community, for the Jewish community, whatever community you have, that's all I'm trying to say. I'm not saying, hey, Nick is this, Paul Miller is that. I'll keep my views to myself. What I'm trying to say is that the messenger should at least give the message or portray the message in a way not to spill hate, not to spill violence, not to spill, all these ideologies where people who don't have the right mindset, because you have to understand not a lot of people are quite educated, not a lot of people are quite well read, not a lot of people had the life experience that some of these people do. Don't rely on controversy. Don't monetize on chaos. Don't monetize on things that spread like fire like this instantly. Of course, anything controversial, anything out of bounds, anything that's not normal is gonna spread like fire instantly. And that's why so quickly and so recently these two names have been surfacing around all over the internet, all over news media. If you want to spread your message, don't spread it in a hateful way, because all these news media outlets, they just need few people like you to make a smear campaign of entire conservative politics. Conservatism is a way of living. It's a thought process. It's a traditional way. It's the way that our founding fathers kind of intended for us to live for the rest of our lives. Unfortunately, a lot of things change because world change, world evolves, politics evolve, but there's a way to converse about such topics. I want you to understand that if you really care about your country, if you really care about conservative values or conservative politics, just simply change your rhetoric. Put it in a good format, not a bad one.